killer storm stuns the eastern part of the United States with hurricane-force winds. In Somalia, the warlords agree to a ceasefire, but shooting continues. And on America Close Up tonight, the changing role of the U.S. military.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from Somalia with Jane Pauley in New York.
Good evening once again from Mogadishu International Airport, where Operation Restore Hope continues its steady buildup of troops and materiel. But the big story tonight is in the United States, where an unexpectedly fierce storm has been lashing the eastern seaboard. We'll begin our program tonight with that story, and Jane Pauley's in New York with details. Jane?
Thanks, Tom. Before we get back to you in Somalia, that winter storm that's been wreaking havoc along the Jersey Shore, New York's Long Island, and New York City. It's been spinning in place most of the day off Delaware Bay, bringing snow, rain, high tides, and merciless winds with hurricane-force gusts. WNBC TV's Ben Farnsworth has been reporting all day out in it from one of the hardest-hit coastal towns, Seabright, New Jersey. Ben, what's the latest?
Jane, the surf is still surging, although the wind has eased and the floodwaters have receded. But earlier today, this storm sent the sea everywhere.
Okay, we're getting flooded pretty bad down here. Everything's all closed down.
The town of Seabright was underwater in some places as much as 4 feet, making it tough for rescue teams to reach people trapped in their houses. Bill LaBianca and his family were evacuated this morning.
The waves were coming over the seawall and running down the street and coming into our house and the foyer area, and it looked like it was a good time to get out of there.
Seabright, a barrier island on the New Jersey coast, is vulnerable to flooding anyway. Today's tides were 8 feet above normal and winds in excess of 75 miles an hour.
I've been here all my life. I've never seen a storm worse than this. Absolutely terrible.
We didn't expect it to be this bad.
We got flooded out. About 4.5 foot in the house. We were watching boats float by and cars, and it was really bad.
Rescue workers say most houses have some wind or water damage, and the deep water and high winds made it difficult to reach people who decided to ride out the storm. The big fear now is what happens at the next high tide. With new water surging in, it'll only make matters worse. Ben Farnsworth for NBC News in Seabright, New Jersey. Jane?
Thanks, Ben. The same storm system that's been moving up the coast since last night dumped snow in several states, as much as 3 feet in parts of Maryland and Pennsylvania. They don't name nor'easters like they do hurricanes, but as NBC's Gary Matsumoto reports, they do have a name for this one.
The National Weather Service is calling it a 100-year storm because storms of this severity, it says, only come round about once a century. This nor'easter has turned the Atlantic into a cauldron. Heavy seas churned up by winds gusting to 90 miles an hour pounded the shore from Georgia to Massachusetts. More than 2 feet of snow fell on Virginia and West Virginia. High tides and high winds have made a destructive combination.
It was the most intense storm system to affect the area since about 1950.
Off the Virginia coast, the storm ripped this oil tanker loose from its tug. It was adrift for several hours, loaded with 400,000 gallons of fuel. In Pennsylvania, a church steeple sheared off by gale-force winds speared the Ben Franklin Bridge that links Philadelphia with southern New Jersey. The bridge is closed indefinitely. Outside Philadelphia, winds knocked down trees and power lines. Thousands of homes were blacked out. This school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, had its roof blown off. Sheets of rain and high tides swept the Atlantic City boardwalk. In Hoboken, New Jersey, overflow from the Hudson River flooded subway stations. Electrical systems shorted out. Local trains were marooned on their tracks. On one rail line alone, nearly 250,000 commuters were stranded.
The Hudson and the East Rivers flanking either side of Manhattan have been surging over their embankments all day, turning the streets of New York City into something resembling the canals of Venice.
Even worse, across town, one of Manhattan's main expressways was shut down completely. New York's LaGuardia Airport was closed because of flooding. For a time, many trains stopped running in and out of New York's Grand Central Station. Many businesses closed early today to give employees extra time to get home.
Our building's about 3 feet underwater, evacuated, power's out, system's gone down.
I was holding on to a lamppost at one point. because of the velocity of the winds. Been a mess all day trying to figure out a way to get home.
Meteorologists say the worst of the storm is lingering over the New York and New Jersey coast and will move on towards Boston overnight. Gary Matsumoto, NBC News, New York.
When Nightly News continues, Tom Brokaw in Somalia with the warlord's ceasefire.
So in my interview, they told me how Dow can take all this coal and turn it into clean burning gas.
Wouldn't that cut down on acid rain?
You got it.
Sounds like one serious job, son. I just wish it wasn't so far away.
Gonna miss you, Mike.
Hey, take care of this for me.
You can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Son, show them what you got.
'Cause Dow lets you do great things.
Fixodent Fresh. The spring water fresh feeling is reason enough to try it. And it's the strongest holding adhesive, so you'll never settle for anything less. Crisp freshness, strongest hold. Two great reasons to Fixodent and forget it.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Two flexible screens let you shave whiskers below skin level. It's quick, smooth, comfortable. A great value. The Remington microscreen.
Back here at Mogadishu International Airport, troops and materiel for Operation Restore Hope continue to arrive around the clock. And now the complexity and the size of this job, they're beginning to emerge. Tonight, there is some encouraging news on the Somalian political front. Well, Operation Restore Hope continued the rapid buildup of forces, more than 4,000 troops now. The two major warlords were meeting at the U.S. Embassy, where they agreed to a ceasefire. General Adid and Ali Mahdi called on their troops to disarm, and they promised to work on a joint military council, ending their day of goodwill with a common prayer. But Operation Restore Hope forces didn't lower their guard. Security still is the first priority, and even after the ceasefire agreement was announced, sporadic firing was heard in Mogadishu. Mogadishu remains a lawless city. But 100 miles west of here, conditions are much worse. Baidoa, a city of death, where this morning and every morning, bodies of the overnight dead are collected. A daily, difficult ritual performed with dignity. This is what Operation Hope faces next. That ceasefire agreement between the two major warlords is an important first step if this country's political situation is ever to be resolved. However, just a few hours after the ceasefire was announced, there was sniper fire here at the airport, and gunfire rattled other parts of the city. As NBC's Martin Fletcher tells us tonight, there's a vast difference in this country between a ceasefire announcement and reality.
The capital's gunmen have pulled back from the city centre, but not very far back. These gunmen are just 1 mile from the Marines and the French Foreign Legion. But they say they're no threat to the Americans. They welcome them. The real threat, they say, comes from yet another group who weren't even invited to today's talks, the Muslim fundamentalists. The chief threat to the peace mission is not from vengeful gunmen angry at the foreign troops. According to the gunmen themselves, it comes from fundamentalist Muslims who prefer anarchy over order. They're not many, but they're close. They described the shelling and shooting that shook Mogadishu at dawn. They fought a gun battle from this position with Islamic fundamentalists a mile away in that row of pink houses. At that moment, the fundamentalists fired another round into Mogadishu. Now they want the Marines to fight the fundamentalists to make peace. But why do you expect the Americans to go in and fight the fundamentalists for you? They came here on a humanitarian mission, not to fight Somalis. Because, he said, if they shoot you, you'll have to shoot back. And they already are sniping at the French troops.
They are not really significantly strong, but they have gained some ground lately because of the economic situation of the country. They want to create misunderstanding and mistrust.
Somalia is a Muslim nation. Most do want peace and hope the Marines will persuade or force the warlords to put away their guns. And, as they say here, to sit under the tree together. After 2 years of war, this is a tired nation. 2 years with no electricity, running water or telephones. 2 years of violence and fear. And it isn't over yet. A roadblock. The driver wouldn't stop. The guards got angry. Everyone said last week they had guns, 5 people would have died. Now, thanks to the Marines, it's just sticks and stones. Here, that's progress. Marlon Fletcher, NBC News, Mogadishu, Somalia.
U.S. forces still are confined mostly to the capital, to the Mogadishu area, but now they do have a jumping-off place for the interior. NBC's Keith Miller tonight at an abandoned airstrip reclaimed. It's called Baladogi.
It may look like a miracle, but solving the problems of Somalia will be a slow and possibly painful experience for everyone. U.S. forces advanced 100 miles west of the capital today. They took over an airfield called Baladogi. They are being cautious and painfully slow to those who need them most.
To speed up the delivery of relief supplies, the American military will try and use abandoned airfields, such as this former headquarters of the Somali Air Force.
On the ground, U.S. forces have been confined to Mogadishu. Security on the roads outside the capital is still unpredictable, and traveling without an armed escort is dangerous. 8 agencies have been given permission by the military to travel with gunmen.
We're now allowed to carry rifles and pistols as of yesterday because there were 8 cars looted yesterday.
In Baidoa, the situation is critical. 8 officials here have given up taking a daily body count.
Looking forward to the war surgery practice to take a marked decline once the Americans get here, if they ever get here. We've been waiting now for 3 or 4 days. They keep saying they're coming, kind of like the checks in the mail.
At Wan Lewain Feeding Center, there's only enough food to last 3 days. Number 1266 has survived a severe case of measles. Baby Sarah is still painfully malnourished. She doesn't know it, but she's waiting for the American forces too. Keith Miller, NBC News, Wan Lewain, Somalia.
I'll be back from Somalia later in the program, and Jane Pauley will have America Close Up tonight on our country's changing military role.
Oh, I can't wait to tell you the news. You know all that seafood you love at Red Lobster? Well, we've just lowered our prices. Our new menu has 15 dinners from $6.95 to $9.95, like our shrimp sampler, just $7.95, with sizzling scampi, flame grilled shrimp, fried shrimp, and all the extras. How's everything?
Delicious.
You know, with our delicious seafood and new lower prices, you're gonna love Red Lobster even more. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Sears Associate Ed Boyd, and the big news is our lowest price ever on these Kenmore appliances.
This Kenmore upright vac with a powerful 7.5 amps and onboard attachments, just $99.99. You save $40. This Kenmore washer, $246, matching dryer, $196. Both large capacity, both 2 cycles. You save $66 on the pair. Only at Sears Brand Central now.
You can count on me.
There's a smart way to doctor a cough. Robitussin cough drops.
Try this, it works.
With an active ingredient that speeds soothing relief to your cough.
Try this, it works.
Robitussin cough drops. Cough drops from the cough experts.
There's one battery that backs you with free jumpstart service anywhere, for any reason. Die Hard.
Can't believe I left my lights on.
Sears Die Hard. The battery you can count on to give you more power when you need it most.
America Close Up tonight. As the Somalia mission reminds us, the U.S. military wants to be all it can be. But in the post-Cold War 1990s, what can or should the armed services be? It's a question being asked around the Pentagon and around the world. NBC's John Cochran has more.
November 1992, the new military, withdrawing from the Philippines, pulling back, scaling back, thinking smaller. 2 weeks later, December 1992, the new military, landing in Somalia, pushing forward, taking on new challenges, thinking big. Well, which is it? Which is the new military we keep hearing about? GIs saying goodbye to their Manila girlfriends? Or GIs starting their mission in Mogadishu? Didn't we decide all this during that endless presidential campaign? Didn't voters tell George Bush, you just don't get it?
I want him to pay attention to what our problems are.
and not everyone else's problems worldwide.
And didn't voters way back in the Republican primaries tell Bush to forget about foreign affairs? Well, no, they didn't. They rejected Pat Buchanan's brand of isolationism. And even though Bill Clinton emphasized domestic problems, he never said, let's ignore the rest of the world. Clinton urged military action in Bosnia, and his proposed spending on defense is not much different from what Bush proposed.
About 95% as much as he proposes to spend over the next 5 years, but we would spend it differently.
Clinton would keep fewer troops overseas and spend more on airlift and sealift mobility. Clinton would also cut 25% of the armed forces, 500,000 people. Military people feel it's unfair. They know the Cold War is over, but they say, just since the Berlin Wall was breached, look what we have done. Invaded Panama and arrested Manuel Noriega. Drove Saddam Hussein's forces out of Kuwait. Protected Kurds in northern Iraq. Helped restore order after the riots in Los Angeles. Airlifted food and medicine to Bosnia. Rescued the rescue effort, which was floundering after Hurricane Andrew in Florida. And now, Operation Restore Hope, which gives the Pentagon a chance to advertise that it can save lives as long as Clinton and Congress don't cut too deep.
The nation is blessed that it has military capability during a period of historic drawdown that can respond in a moment's notice to this type of operation. And if another one popped up tomorrow, we could do that too.
Others say the military can further justify its existence by taking on the role of, well, of role models.
We have 400,000 black men and women in the military who are tremendous role models for our society, 90,000 Hispanics. Every military base is near some population area or is accessible to that. I would like to see our military people out in the schools visiting people for an hour or two every week.
But some think the military is losing its identity and its combat readiness by taking on non-combat duties. In a new article, Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Charles Dunlap wrote that such chores can leave the military unfit to engage an authentic military opponent. Ironically, just before the article was printed, Dunlap was sent to help with the relief effort to Somalia. And now, despite what he wrote, even he thinks the U.S. has no choice when faced with this. John Cochran, NBC News, Washington.
I'll have more news in a moment, including the latest in the real-life drama of Woody Allen and Mia Farrow.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna twist! Tater twister, big surprise! Cuts and shades, some curly fries!
Presto Tater Twister Electric Curly Cutter cuts potatoes and other vegetables automatically into curly cuts. Fry some crisp curly fries, onion strings, zucchini curls too. Tater Twister pays for itself in the money it saves. Even spiral cuts, potatoes with a new twist, nutritious hot dishes, fancy things. Clean up fast, easy, fun.
Tater Twister!
And Pro Tater Twister.
You know, you look like the smart, successful type. Just the type to appreciate Sprint's remarkably easy calling program the most. It saves you big on whoever you call the most each month. 36% when that person has Sprint. And you don't have to sign anyone up. It's all automatic. Of course, a smart, successful guy like you probably already has the most. Or did you just inherit all that money?
Some people get nasal congestion, but if you get sinus congestion, use a sinus spray like Sinex. Only Sinex has a decongestant plus Vicks Vapors, so you can feel your swollen passages open up. For sinus, think Sinex.
Black & Decker says, why struggle? Get the power you need with Black & Decker's corded hand vac. With a motorized brush and a 25-foot cord, it cleans tough jobs in tough places. The corded dirt vac, only from Black & Decker.
Sears has the lowest monthly payments of any national department store. Just use your Sears Charge Plus and get these great gifts or anything else for $1,000 for only $21 a month. The lowest monthly payments only at Sears. You can count on it.
Raisin Brans are good for you, but they're all the same. So this is total Raisin Bran, huh? Wow, it's got 100% of all these vitamins and minerals. Kellogg's has 100% of just one? That's odd.
Total Raisin Bran. The Raisin Bran with the total difference.
NBC News has learned that 3 blacks have emerged as top candidates for Clinton administration jobs. Democratic Chairman Ron Brown in Little Rock today, with speculation centering on Commerce Secretary or United Nations Ambassador. Mississippi Congressman Mike Espy for Agriculture and U.S. Court of Appeals Judge Amalia Kiersey for Attorney General. Frontrunner now for Secretary of State, Transition Chief Warren Christopher. The plight of Haiti's refugees is nowhere more evident than at the U.S. base in Guantanamo, Cuba. Among the Haitians held in legal limbo there for 13 months, a group infected with the AIDS virus. NBC science correspondent Robert Bazell has more.
The 276 Haitians are kept behind barbed wire, even though they are not charged with a crime.
It's not good. It's not really a condition, you know, for human.
In fact, the government says they are eligible for political asylum in the U.S. Many would face reprisals, even death, if they return to Haiti. But under a policy implemented by the Reagan and Bush administrations, people who test positive for the AIDS virus cannot enter the country. Lawyers have been trying to win their freedom in the courts.
Well, what we have there is essentially a concentration camp for people who have an HIV virus.
40 children and 22 pregnant women are living in the camp. In several families, including this one, only one member, in this case the mother, is infected. 4-year-old Stephanie and 5-year-old Kenal are not infected. Military doctors who treat the Haitians cannot yet tell whether Sunshine, born last month at Guantanamo, is infected. The detainees live in cinder block buildings. Flies are everywhere. Hanging bed sheets are the only source of privacy for families living in spaces only a few feet wide. Colonel Steve Kinder took command of the camp after riots last summer.
Really, I'm not a politician. I'm just here to take care of them, and I do the best I can for them.
Military people are doing their best, but federal health officials say the camp is a potential breeding ground for serious infections. The government opened the camp to reporters only after several news organizations filed a lawsuit. The residents greeted us with signs and shouts demanding their freedom, something they hope Bill Clinton will grant them as soon as he takes office. Robert Bazell, NBC News, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
A New York City judge ruled today that no cameras will be allowed in the courtroom when the Woody Allen-Mia Farrow child custody case goes to trial next Tuesday. It promises nonetheless to be a drama with twists and intrigue and involves allegations that Allen sexually abused an adopted daughter. NBC's John Miller is here now with more on the story. John.
Well, Jane, it has all the elements of a Woody Allen movie plot. It's about love and sex and betrayal, but it is a dark story with none of the laughs.
I'm so humiliated.
Woody and Mia are a famous couple with famous friends.
I like them both very much, and it's sad to see something so awful happen to people's friends.
From the beginning, the battle has been fought in the headlines. Woody's press conference, Mia's side in Vanity Fair, Woody's appearance on 60 Minutes, Mia's story with photos of the kids sold by her to a British tabloid. Mia's style is public relations guerrilla warfare. Mia uses friends and relatives to plant anti-Woody barbs in the press.
She's been using her friends on both coasts to say terrible things about me and to lie about me continually.
Woody's approach is more sophisticated, remaining silent for months, then strategically giving interviews or releasing items like the bizarre Valentine card given him by Farrow with knives and skewers through the family's hearts. In a statement, Farrow told NBC News she wouldn't be interviewed about Woody Allen for this story and asked that her friends not talk to us about Allen either. She said, for the sake of the children.
She's paraded her children on television and my children on television. She's allowed them to be photographed by magazines for commercial purposes.
In Mia Farrow's statement to NBC News, for the first time she seemed to take a step back from the charge that Allen molested their 7-year-old daughter. The statement reads, "I have never accused Woody Allen of child molestation. I repeat, never. What I did do was take my daughter to a physician who, according to Connecticut state law, was required to report her story to authorities."
I think what she's trying to do is position it so that when the truth comes out, she'll be able to blame the little girl and say, you know, it's not me, the little girl said it.
Will this case move from the newsrooms to the courtrooms? Connecticut authorities still haven't decided whether to charge Allen. They are waiting for a report from a medical team at Yale. Jane?
Thanks, John. On Wall Street today, more profit-taking pushed stocks lower in moderate trading.
Take some vegetables and presto salad shooter.
Shoot some slices, salad shooter.
Point and shoot right into stir fry or casserole.
Shoot some shreds, salad shooter.
For hash browns or coleslaw.
Shoot it fast, shoot it neat, shoot it pretty salad shooter.
Presto salad shooter slicer shredder. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe. Small enough to store anywhere. Great salads and much, much more.
Salad shooter.
The original salad shooter and professional salad shooter from Presto.
The Buick LeSabre, Family Circle Magazine's Domestic Family Car of the Year. LeSabre won by finishing first in important family categories like value, comfort, dealer satisfaction, performance, safety, style, and of course, dependability. Buick LeSabre. It is a welcome addition to the American family.
Isotoner offers as many styles and colors as there are ways to express yourself. Isotoner gloves. Make your own kind of music.
The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Remington has diamond-honed cutting edges and two flexible, ultra-thin screens that stretch the skin and lift whiskers to let you shave below skin level. That's Remington.
Sears early opening sale tomorrow, Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. You decide what's on sale with Sears Bucks. Make your own sale with money-saving Sears Bucks. Everything in every department. You make the sale tomorrow, Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. at Sears.
I used to take aspirin to relieve minor arthritis pain until my doctor told me one Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin and is gentler to my stomach. For my pain, I prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
When I arrived here a week ago, I thought I was prepared for Somalia. After all, we've been covering the deteriorating political situation here for some time, and like everyone else, I had been absorbed by those haunting pictures of the Somalian people. I was prepared, I thought. I was not. This is a refugee camp and feeding center run by the International Red Cross in Mogadishu. This is a success story. Habiba is the matriarch. She's had more to feed since the Marines arrived, more to sit beside 85-year-old Isha, who walked 100 miles to get here. Mohammed, 20 years old, who is actually making progress, although he appears to be slipping away.
These pots from home.
More to share the pitiful shelter space of this woman and her sons, ages 10 and 15. She lost her husband to hunger. Now, she says, matter-of-factly, I have no husband, no house, no medical care. Her story is not unusual. 75% of the Somalian population, more than 4 million people, need help. Lots of help. These proud people, with their grace and beauty undiminished by their burden, this battered land, are desperate beyond my means to describe it. Operation Restore Hope is an honorable objective, but Somalia cannot survive on hope alone. That's Nightly News for this Friday night from Somalia. And Jane, I'll see you back in New York next week.
Quality television triumphs. Recently, we asked you to tune in the critically acclaimed drama, I'll Fly Away. And you did. 16.5 million watched the latest I'll Fly Away. Thank you for supporting quality television. And don't miss the next powerful hour, I'll Fly Away. NBC tonight at 10, 9 Central.
Next week on Today's